my name is Jenny Lauren Dowden for Conduit News, and today we have State Senator Ben Gilmore joining us. He's actually at the Capitol. He had a committee hearing to attend to this morning, but he stepped out just to join us to talk about the upcoming session as well as the COVID vaccine mandates. Thank you, Senator.
Hey, my pleasure. Always good to be with you, Jenny, and happy, even though I've got to step right back in, happy to step out and talk to you and to your viewers.
Really appreciate it. And I appreciate the fact that you are down there representing where I grew up, my district, down in South Arkansas. So I know a lot of people down there appreciate
the great folks of Southeast Arkansas. Absolutely.
That's right. Well, listen, at the main focus of everyone's thoughts right now are the COVID vaccine mandates from the federal level all the way down to what we're seeing from state and local employers. Just first, give me your thoughts about that.
Yeah, look, I think I can speak for most of the legislature in saying that when COVID became an issue and the mandate started coming from, big government, if you will, from a federal level, even on state levels with mask mandates and things of that nature, I was happy to support legislation that repealed mask mandates. And so saying all that, we as a legislature, at least most of us, I think, understand that we have to protect the liberties of individuals. And I have firm faith in saying that we're going to do that in the upcoming session. So we go back in session on the 29th, which is next week, which again, it feels like a whirlwind. This has been a long year. We've been in session quite a bit this year, obviously most of which due to COVID. But we are continuing the general session that started the first of the year, and we adjourned in April. And so we're picking that up again this month to address redistricting. And one of the reasons of the delay, obviously, is the Biden administration delayed getting the census data to us. With that being said, we're going to have the opportunity to address tax cuts and also to address mandates like vaccine mandate, which the Biden administration just rolled out. It was onerous, it was egregious, and it placed unnecessary burden not only on our businesses, but also on individuals. I think his executive order stated that a business of 100 or more had to mandate that their employees get vaccines. Now, there were some exceptions in that, but the reality is it went too far. And it's unfair for businesses who don't want to do that to employees. And it's unfair for employees who have legitimate concerns and who don't want to get that vaccine for either religious reasons or just conscientious objections to getting it, to being told to put something in their body that they don't want. And so there's legitimate concerns there. So we as a legislature have used the time in between when we adjourned the special session to handle the mask mandate. Up until now, we've had conversations of how do we best draft legislation that can push back on what big business is doing, on what big government is doing with the vaccine mandate that the Biden administration rolled out. So those conversations are ongoing. There's going to be legislation presented, and we're going to work to protect the individual liberties of Arkansans.
Yeah, so just to elaborate a little bit more on that, what would that look like, from your opinion? What would that look like, regarding protecting Arkansans and their liberties?
Yeah, well, I think it can be a lot of different things, right? I think there can be things in place that businesses inherit some of the ownership. If they're going to require employees to do something, maybe they need to inherit some of the liability. But even beyond that, one of the things that was very frustrating for me is you had businesses like, I think Tyson was one, Walmart was one that rolled out mandates on their employees, but then didn't allow for real exceptions to that. Mm-hmm. If you had a legitimate religious concern, health concern, or just an overall objection to having something mandated put in your body, you weren't really given the options, or the options they gave you. At the end of the day, they were going to determine if it fit their criteria or not. So, I mean, there's real concerns there about personal liberty. And so, again, I don't want to speculate too much because, we're going to see some bills filed. There's going to be members that file bills we're in conversations now. But I think you'll see bills that try to address those specific things that I just mentioned.
a lot of these companies, Tyson that you mentioned, Mercy's, some other corporations, specifically up here in Northwest Arkansas,
Yeah.
they have deadlines rapidly approaching, which I'm
Rapidly
sure that you
approaching.
are
Yeah.
aware of, for their employees. Basically, if you don't comply, you no longer have a job. And so I think a lot of people, and I'm sure that you are hearing from them, a lot of Arkansans feel time is of the essence, that they really don't have a long time to sit and wait to see what our legislators decide to do. And they see the 29th as an opportunity to take up COVID related legislation that could have an impact on them and their livelihood.
And my message to them is we're going to, but make no mistake, these are not simple issues. These are very complex issues. And I don't say that to try to put off the importance of it. I say it in the sense that, there are competing values. There are business liberty that we as Republicans believe that business needs to operate freely, and they need the leeway to do that. But at the other side of that, and I love this because the Constitution is very clear. It is the cornerstone of the Constitution in that the individual liberties of the individual citizens should trump everything. And so, again, there is some balance that has to be had. But at the end of the day, the Bill of Rights is very clear when it comes to individual liberties. And so I think you're going to see this legislature act in a way to protect individuals.
Before we let you go, how would you suggest Arkansans reach out to you and the other legislators as far as letting their voice be heard regarding these mandates and other issues that you may consider?
Yeah, that's great. Look, you can, of course, find us on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. Most of my colleagues are on Facebook. But call your state rep, call your state senator, email them, and engage in a conversation. Don't just copy and paste another email. Actually reach out, let them know that you live in their districts, because we get bombarded with tons of emails, tons of messages, and the ones that cut through all that are the ones that say, hey, look, here's where I live and you represent me, and here's what I'm concerned about. And so, reach out, but you go to the legislative websites, the Senate page, the House page, there's contact info. My cell phone number is on there. And I'll give it right now, 501-467-5952. That's my cell phone number. The only number I've got, the only one I ever give out, and I give it out all the time. So feel free to call me, text me, email me. I'm happy to hear from it. But again, make sure you're reaching out to your elected official and let them know they represent you.
Thank you so much for joining us, and
my pleasure
for your insight. Yeah, I hope to talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.